Hello there, everybody. I'm James Milan, and welcome to this Town Hall update. I am joined, as always, by our Town Manager, Jim Feeney. And Jim, today we'll be getting an update on a pretty quick one on trash and recycling, which we've talked about quite a bit in the past. We'll hear about the new mountain bike park and the upcoming open house at Arlington High School. And I guess we'll talk about Town Day, which is coming up as well this weekend. You also have some staff updates, but we're going to start with some really pretty big news about affordable housing in Arlington. So share that with us, please.
Thank you, James. Happy to be here, as always. So today's big affordable housing news pertains to the Housing Corporation of Arlington. And I'm excited to announce that the town of Arlington was able to secure $5.85 million in funding for a new Housing Corporation of Arlington affordable housing project that will ultimately result in probably at least 90 affordable housing units here in town. So that is a significant number to stem from one project. So we were able to secure $3.5 million in funding from the Commonwealth through their new MBTA Communities Catalyst Grant. So that state program is open to communities who are compliant with the new MBTA Communities law, which requires any municipality who has some degree of MBTA service to zone for multifamily housing by right in areas nearby those served by the MBTA. So coupled with that grant, we provided $2.35 million in funding through Arlington's Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Much of that was provided through its acquisition, creation, and conversion program. So the trust had recommended approval of $1.875 million in ARPA funds that had been earmarked for affordable housing, and then awarded $475,000 in actual trust funds that had been received from the Community Preservation Act Committee. So really, I offer that to say just how many different pots of money were leveraged for the Housing Corporation of Arlington to take on this new project, which will include the acquisition of 840 Mass Ave, 846 Mass Ave, and 17 Newman Way. These properties are all located in either the Mass Ave Broadway or neighborhood multifamily housing overlay districts, referring to our MBTA community zones. So that's what made them eligible for the state grant. So these properties include 2 existing high-rise apartment buildings and a 2-family home for a current total of 59 housing units, none of which are deed restricted as affordable. The apartment buildings in particular are a bit older, so they have many units of what we term naturally occurring affordable housing. So, and that's oftentimes occupied by very long-term tenants. Prior to this purchase by the Housing Corporation of Arlington, those tenants were largely at risk of displacement due to rent increases by the prior owner. So the Housing Corp will be initially deed restricting 8 units as affordable as compared to our local area median income, but there are plans to deed restrict all of the units on about a 5-year time frame. So in addition to the existing buildings and the use of those parcels, there's a plan to develop an additionally probably between 30 and 35 units under the multifamily housing overlay district. That will require site plan review through the redevelopment board, and abutters will be required to be notified of different public engagement opportunities, but they are already planning to make use of some of the surplus space on those adjoining parcels to pursue some additional development in the MBTA Communities District. So need to give a special shout out to Sarah Suarez from the Department of Planning and Community Development, as well as the Affordable Housing Trust, the Community Preservation Act Committee, and the many others who are always supportive of bringing more affordable housing to Arlington. This is a very, very big project and will have a very significant impact in a short period of time on our affordable housing stock in Arlington. So kudos to all of them.
Absolutely, man. Couple of notes I would just say, like you said, almost 100 units potentially of affordable housing is really almost mind-boggling in one go. So that's terrific. And then the only second thing that I would note is, as you mentioned, multiple pots of money. but 3.5 million, I think it was, you said, is coming from the MBTA Communities Fund that we qualified for over some time and over some controversy. So great, again, to see the palpable evidence of what makes sense about us being an MBTA community.
That's a great point. Our early adoption specifically put us in this very limited pool of potential applicants to access this source of money, because a lot of people had not yet achieved compliance with the MBTA Communities District, so there weren't as many municipalities vying for these dollars.
That's a great point, and one worth remembering, folks. All right, let's get an update on the trash and recycling situation, which, again, just to remind people, goes back to a July 1st transition from not only one company to another, but one very different system to another. So how are things going?
Right. So I would say, by and large, the transition is mostly complete. I think what I wanted to report on today are a few things that I'm sort of pleased to have some data points to share now that we've completed these more recent efforts. But the first being that we have diverted 75 tons of rigid plastic waste from the waste stream due to our recycling efforts. So we collected 65 tons of unwanted barrels and bins from our residents during our special curbside collection in partnership with WM. And then we collected additionally another 10 tons of unwanted bins and barrels, so rigid, bulky plastic, via our reuse and recycle center down on Ryder Street, which we then packed up into roll-off containers and sent to a recycling facility to keep them out of a landfill. So if folks still do have a bin or a barrel, please know that the Reuse and Recycling Center is available to you. That is no cost. You can drop them off yourself. You just have to have an appointment, and you can make one of those on the town's website. So very pleased to report how much recycling we were able to capture, and that we were able to help our residents find a way to dispose of in an environmentally sensitive and ecologically conscious way their unwanted bins and barrels, given that we had purchased and provided new carts to every household. And then the final point I would add is, after we sort of did our main distribution of the carts, we have been going through this process of satisfying what we internally call downsize requests, but there are a number of residents who felt they would be better served by, instead of the 65-gallon standard cart that we had assigned to households, but instead to be served by a much smaller and more agile 35-gallon cart. So there was about some 900 residents that had submitted downsize requests, and we were able to just recently finish satisfying all those requests, where we were scheduling to perform swap outs at the curbside with those residents to take the 65-gallon carts that they had been using and transition them to a smaller 35-gallon cart that, for maybe an older resident, may be more maneuverable, or for a resident who may live in a small condo and is keeping it in the garage, that a slimmer 35-gallon profile may have been better for the accommodations that they have. So those were two of the efforts that we were largely undertaking after the initial wave of transition later this summer, and I'm pleased to report that both have been completed, and very successfully, and with pretty staggering results in terms of the numbers.
Yeah, 75 tons is a lot, and I'm not sure that all communities don't do this, but my sense that Arlington was, willing to take that extra step of helping people dispose of their older bins, with minimal hassle for them. That seemed like an extra step that the town was taking to, again, to accommodate and take care of their residents.
Yeah, you're right to say that. And while it doesn't come without a cost, we believed that the cost associated with this recycling effort really, truly reflected Arlington's values, and is what we believe and what we heard from our residents they wanted to see happen. So doing this recycling endeavor certainly was a lot more work, certainly cost a little bit more money, but was most definitely the right thing to do for Arlington.
And I know that for everybody involved, including yourself, this was a just gigantic thing that you took on, and a lot of it has been resolved at this point. I'm sure that there will be ongoing issues. There always are. But kudos to you and everybody involved.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the mountain bike park at Hills Hill.
Let's talk about yet now another unique recreational gem for the town of Arlington. But we have just opened the Hills Hill Mountain Bike Park. On September 6th, there was a grand opening attended by well over 100 people to come see this new mountain biking park. So this park offers 3 paths for a variety of skill levels. So it is really a unique addition to our recreational assets. There are very few communities that have something like this. So, this project dates back a number of years. It went through a pretty iterative design process, soliciting input from numerous groups and individuals, and really resulted in a design of like a compact, multi-purpose, natural materials playground for bikes, for mountain bikes, to put it simply. So I have to call out the Community Preservation Act Committee, who also supported this project with $400,000 in funding, and the project received support at town meeting back in 2023. So the bike park is in a wooded area on the southwestern edge of the sort of playing fields that are adjacent to the Ed Burns Arena at 422 Summer Street. So you have the rink, and then you have the Buck baseball field, then the playground, and then you have like that Hills Hill soccer area field. And then there's a wooded natural area that is now home to this new mountain biking park. So if you do visit, and you should, if nothing else, just to go see what a mountain bike park is, know that the trail is not supervised, so everyone is using it at their own risk, and that we are wanting the public to know that it will be closed if the soil is wet, because damage or harm could be done to the park if we ride when conditions are really wet. So great to see this open after many years. Kudos to Arlington's Park and Recreation Commission for having this put into their capital plan and wanting to see this go forward. The Community Preservation Act Committee, again, for their funding support to numerous people in the community, but I do want to single out then Ottoson student Henry Fenolosa, who had ultimately the vision for this facility back when he was at the Ottoson, but now to everyone else who ultimately made this facility a reality, including our fairly new recreation director, Natasha Waden, who brought this project across the finish line and to a successful completion.
Yeah, and you well described the area that you're talking about, and I have to say it is a part of Arlington that has kind of clamored for this particular kind of innovation, because it is a confined space, but it feels very much like mountain biking, or even if you've just been walking through there, it's just one of those kinds of environments. The other thing I'll say is that as somebody who has spent a lot of time on his bike over the last 40 years in and around Arlington, it has felt like I'm mountain biking a certain amount of time anyway, just because of the up and down of Arlington. So how wonderful to have an actual official mountain bike park. That's great. Another thing to celebrate, our high school continues to become more and more its full self, new self, and there will be an open house for people to be able to appreciate that. Tell us about that, please.
Sure, and thank you. We're asking folks to save the date for Saturday, October 25th, because between the hours of 1 and 4 p.m., we'll be inviting folks to come and tour the whole of the new facility. As you alluded to, we have just recently completed the athletic complex, i.e. the fields in the rear of the facility, as well as some of the other amenities of the site. So the Arlington High School Building Committee will be hosting this final community open house on the 25th from 1 to 4 p.m. so that residents can come and tour the new facilities and see firsthand what the fruits of their investment are.
Great. And we have, been at it already here in this town hall update a while, but amazing that we're just now getting to Town Day, to talking about Town Day, which is coming very quickly here.
Indeed, this weekend, right? So frankly, for the first time in a while, and I hope I don't jinx it, the forecast is predicting
Looks good.
nearly perfect weather for a town day and the fireworks. So folks, come on down between 10:30 and 4:30 p.m. on Mass Ave in front of Town Hall is going to be sort of the centerpiece of Town Day. The fireworks are set for 7:30 p.m., again to occur over Spy Pond. Town Day again this year, it's going to be over 200 booths. There will be a beer garden featuring Arlington Brewing Company brews in the Town Hall garden this year. There will be music on the main stage in front of Town Hall. Pony rides, as always. This year we do have this new feature of remote control race cars. There will be a bubble experience. So there are some new entertainment items being featured this year, as well as much, much more. Of course, as always, a lot of town departments and committees will be having booths, so please stop by and visit their tables. If I had my preference, I would encourage you to certainly join the Department of Planning and Community Development to participate in the AMP Up Comprehensive Plan Update. Please give your ideas and feedback on the vision for the future of Arlington. Please do take in our public safety demos. Our police and fire departments do a great job sort of demonstrating some of the skills, equipment, and training that they have and providing education to the public. So obviously a whole lot going on. I know ACMi will be there in full force, but please do visit the town's website to see what the booths are, what the entertainment schedule is, and we actually now have an interactive map of all the booths in the activity locations, and that's on the Town Day website, which is running right on the banner of the town's website right now. So, you'll be there, and I hope to see everyone else there too.
Great. Lots of organizational improvements over the years, but we've been waiting on the weather for a while.
Right.
So, if it all comes together, it's just a fantastic day. Exhausting for many of us, and absolutely exhilarating. So we are looking forward to it. All right, you've got a couple of announcements, I think, staff related.
Sure. Just want to call out some internal hires and achievements. So we have filled the position of Deputy Town Manager and Finance Director, and we have done so with a familiar face. So I am very pleased to report that Julie Wayman has been appointed as Arlington's newest Deputy Town Manager and Finance Director. This particular position is obviously crucial to our operation. It performs a lot of complex and crucial administrative duties, including preparing the operating and capital budgets, our 5-year long-range financial plan, conducting collective bargaining, producing the financial plan that we publish for our residents. Julie is very familiar with all of these tasks. Many know her more recently as Arlington's treasurer and collector, leading the treasurer's office in town. Prior to that, for many years, she served as the budget director, and even before that, as the community development block grant administrator. So her Arlington experience is very deep. She has been able to hit the ground running, so I'm so pleased she was interested in and has accepted this role.
Great hire. Congratulations to Julie. Congratulations to you guys.
Indeed.
Good job.
And then finally, just want to recognize that the Town of Arlington's Information Technology, or IT Department, has received a Massachusetts Excellence in Technology Award during this year's Massachusetts Digital Government Summit. So this award recognizes outstanding contributions and community impacts. So we, in particular, were recognized, or the Arlington IT Department was recognized for their upgrades in cybersecurity and risk management. So the IT department has successfully implemented a variety of initiatives to improve our cybersecurity posture while also maintaining their existing workloads. So not only do we appreciate their efforts locally, as they're an enterprise department, right? They impact everyone in the organization, but we're also pleased that the state is acknowledging their efforts as well. So I want to congratulate our IT department and specifically call out our Chief Information Officer, Patricia Shepard, as well as our Deputy Director of Information Technology, Syed Codier, on this recognition and for their hard work. Thank you.
All right, so a long town hall update that started with something to celebrate in a big way, the affordable housing transformation that's going to be happening right in the middle of Arlington. finishing with another cause for celebration and many such in between as well. So thanks so much for sharing. Jim Feeney is our town manager, and of course he joins us every couple of weeks for the town hall update, and we'll be back in that rhythm for the fall, I'm sure. Always presenting, as you can see and hear, tons of information, and we really do appreciate Jim taking the time to be here to do so. We also appreciate you guys being here to join us. So thanks for that, and for Town Hall Update, I'm James Milan. We'll see you next time.